playing, childhood's most popular pastime.
What's the most important thing in your life?
Children.
The play of children is useful. It helps them to grow, and in this way, it's like the play of other young animals.
Our children, of course, have always been our pride and joy. But we never used to put them at the very centre of family life.
The children are certainly a big part of family life, but not the whole of it.
Famously, they were raised to be seen and not heard, and certainly not top of the family pecking order. Yet by the end of the 20th century, many of our families had turned the traditional hierarchy on its head.
The importance of the children in my life is immense.
My children are my priority, my top priority.
I think the kids are right at the epicentre of our world, aren't they?
Yeah.
Why the change? And what does it mean for our families?
Right, get your stuff then. If you want to go swimming, go and get your stuff. Lenny, get down.
Please explain why she's in the suit.
Lucy Cavendish and her partner Michael Agar live in Oxfordshire with 4 children.
I'm not taking it. I want you to eat your food, okay?
Raymond, Lucy's 13-year-old son from an earlier marriage.
Can I have a toast?
Leonard and Jerry, who are 6 and 5. And Ottoline, now 2.
You little bit, you're always, that's enough. That's enough.
Lucy and Michael feel their children dominate their home. Sound familiar?
Get down from the side and sit on your seat and eat your drink.
For our generation, my generation, something has happened, and not just to me, but to many, many, many other parents, which is we're very, very child-centric. And I'm not exactly sure why we are, but I just know that we are. And it's in the media all the time, and there's endless books on it, and there's parenting classes, and everywhere you turn, you go to a dinner party or a party, everyone's talking about their children, actually.
What does your mother think, Lucy, about the way that you parent?
She would say that we are probably dominated by our children in a way that we probably shouldn't be. So, for example, we went out for a walk, and one of them was screaming because they wanted to do this, and one of them was crying because they wanted to do that, and then it was mayhem, and then I think the baby had a cold, and I'd had one on my back, and then I'd bought a bike, and then with me for them to cycle, and then I had another one over there, and the dog had got in the duck pond, and my mother was just standing there, and she said, why is this happening? And I said, why have you asked me that question? Why wouldn't it be happening?
This one is for me!
Yeah. You kind of start off with all these kind of ideas.
2 hogs in action.
The more children you have,
oh yeah,
and the more you get broken down.
Oh yeah, we're totally broken down.
So you think you can resist, and then you realise you can't, because this huge wave
of
children's coming at you with opinions, which is fine, but really, you kind of, at some point, you realise that they rule the house.
Lenny, don't shout at her, please.
Try not to drown.
Families like Lucy's didn't exist 50 years ago, but now more and more of us as parents are putting our children at the very centre of our lives, and it's changing everything.
By the end of the 20th century, a domestic revolution seemed to be brewing. At the heart of the government was a family with kids. And at the heart of the Blair agenda was the welfare of the family.
In 1999, in the early years of the new Labour government, one of their favoured gurus was Professor Anthony Giddens. And in that year, he was to give the annual Wreath Lectures. One of his themes was the changing face of the family. He said, children in traditional families were and are supposed to be seen and not heard. Many parents, perhaps despairing of their children's rebelliousness, would dearly like to resurrect that rule. But there isn't any going back to it, nor should there be. In a democracy of the emotions, what an interesting phrase, children can and should be able to answer back.
Democratic. Yes, it's a very good thing where children in any house can speak openly with their parents. Our generation, when we were kids, when we were being brought up, there was this unspoken respect or regard for your parents where you didn't question anything. So whatever they said, it went. Whereas I think with the kids now, they're more honest, they're more open. I think gradually it's becoming less strict. More a friendship relationship.
Sometimes their opinion is heard more than ours. I think it's good for them to do so because we were kind of seen but not heard.
If you can't allow your children to express themselves, then you're not allowing your children to grow up. You have to allow your children to have a say in everything.
As parents, we may still want the final say, but increasingly it just seems harder to hold our ground.
You are in big trouble, young man.
Don't call me young man, you always do that.
Smoking is bad. And I'm very disappointed.
And don't say disappointed, it's such a cliche.
You've let yourself...
I haven't let myself down.
Well, you've let me
I haven't let you down either.
Well, I'm very... Indeed.
Shame.
And yes, it is a shame. It is a shame.
Riding through the city on my bike all day 'cause the filth took away my license. It doesn't get me down.
Do you ever feel like your house has been overtaken by your kids' stuff? I do. Apparently, little Johnny Average has got 1,700 quid's worth of toys and technology crammed into his bedroom. Perhaps we feel to deny them what others have would mean we were somehow failing them. And believe it or not, in the same way that we lavish money on them, we also lavish time.
Parents, and I include myself among them, are preoccupied these days with the idea that they simply don't spend enough time with their children. Well, here's an intriguing little bit of information for you. Recently published research has shown that back in 1975, children spent, on average, about 25 minutes a day being cared for by their parents. In 2001, that figure had risen to 99 minutes a day.
Well into the 1970s, most mothers were still housewives. Wash, cook, clean was the daily routine. But in today's new domestic order, time with our kids is meant to be quality time. In today's conversations with our kids, their voice should be heard. And a good chunk of our cash should be spent on their desires. In our modern families, it seems we have surrendered to our children.